Wow, words kind of fail me right now. I'm recording this after having learned about the death of David Lynch, and I have to say, this is a day that will weigh heavily on me for quite a while. I think. Um, Growing up and coming of age in the late '90s and early aughts, I was always being told to watch things or seek things out. I think even before movies, were my thing, people would kind of recognize in this angsty punk youngster that I was being interested in certain movies. And whenever somebody recommends something like, say Natural Born Killers or Clockwork Orange or, the Tarantino movies, which are so big at the time and still are big, obviously, whenever I would seek these movies out, what I saw always kind of fell short of what I had imagined and were always kind of something of a letdown. Even though I would enjoy them, the imagery that I conjured up in my anticipation to watching them was always kind of different from what I saw later on. And it wasn't that I was disappointed that it wasn't what I perceived, but just I think my mind was working very hard for it and generating something completely different. But that wasn't the case when I got into the work of David Lynch. The early days of DVD, Josh at the record store recommended, there was a DVD of Eraserhead and the short films of David Lynch. It was Six Men Getting Sick Six Times, The Alphabet, The Grandmother, his really strange slapstick, The Cowboy and the Frenchman, and the one he did with as part of Lumiere Project, Lumiere. And I was just knocked out by these short films. They had kind of gone beyond what I could have imagined. No one could have imagined this except for someone like David Lynch. And then Eraserhead was a similar experience. I remember before watching it, I ran into someone at the restaurant I worked at when I was like 16, and he gave me the synopsis by saying, it's about a man and woman who have this woman gives birth to a fish potato baby, and they have to raise it, and they're not wrong. But it was just such a great warm up to this kind of formative title for me. And I think so much of what David Lynch has done over the years has informed my visual aesthetic, and I think, for anyone that knows me or for anyone that's familiar with me or my work, it does not come as a surprise that Lynch is a big influence and that I'm a big admirer of his movies and a big admirer just of him as a personality as well. I think David Lynch, gave us the kind of art that he did because that was the way he saw things. That was how he saw the world, and that's how he saw the stories that he wanted to tell. People always use the word, weird and strange and this fringy guy, to describe him. But the funny thing is that I don't think he was ever trying to be weird or trying to do anything in a gesture-heavy way, in a stylistically heavy way. I think he was just telling stories and telling these, telling us these narratives in the way that he saw them, and this is kind of how he saw the world. And I think what I've learned, unconsciously at a young age and consciously at an older age, that, you can have beautiful nightmares, that something scary can also be beautiful, and that, dreams and nightmares are kind of one and the same in some regards, in that there's also something to be said for kind of leaning into the otherness of experience, the uncanny part of experience, and that, getting it on screen or on film or whatever, and not getting it into a visual medium, you have to kind of offer something up about yourself, and that you also have to kind of confront yourself as well. And I guess that's something I try to do in my work, and that's something that also informs what I do, but also I think inspires me to follow my own instincts and hopefully deliver something on a level that's as honest as can be. And I think I consciously or unconsciously got that instinct from, I think, watching the work of David Lynch at such a young age and throughout the rest of my life. So yeah, I guess what better film to start with than Eraserhead? I guess, David Lynch, if you're out there and you can hear or see this, thank you for giving us all the wonderful and beautiful, inspiring art that you did. All right, long intro, short trailer. Gotta love it. It's funny though, because the older I get, the more Eraserhead makes sense. I mean, yeah, parenthood must be fucking weird, and sometimes their in-laws behave strangely at dinner. What I think is brilliant here about the editing is that the space of leader between the cuts, in that you're just kind of getting these little bites of this surreal nightmare, and it just whets your appetite all the more. Even knowing very little about movie making, I kind of got the vibe that that this guy got a camera and some film and, pieced this thing together on his own, and that's totally what happened. And that's huge when you think about the idea of making movies on your own, or the very question of, whether or not can I do this? And Eraserhead said, yes, you can. Yeah, this has been Alex. Fuck, I don't know what else to say, man. Rest in peace, David Lynch.